Alright, y'all, so just finished up cam swap. So this video I did the remaining things that I had left. Put the phaser back on. I actually did the lockout for the phaser, showed that. Swapped the lifters out, plugged the valley ports for the oil, the lash cap, put that on, heads back on, rockers, push rods, button everything back up. Trying to think, is there anything I left out that I remember? I think everything's in there. One thing I will say, I put the heads back on and I put the new cam in, but I didn't have the phaser on yet in the timing chain, and I went to put the push rods in and the rockers and torque them down. I had the cam set top dead center, and what I found out is when I actually tightened the rocker down, I guess when the push rod was hitting maybe a lobe or something on the cam, and the actual pressure from the torque and the spring actually pushed it and slightly rotated the cam. Plus, since there's nothing there to grip the cam with, it was very hard to like move it back to top dead center. So what I ended up having to do was loosen all the rockers, and till there was no pressure on the push rods, and I could actually move the cam back. And I put the phaser on and the timing chain. So just recommend put the timing chain and the phaser on first. Like I say, you could get it on maybe if you had something to turn it, if you put the bolt back in and actually had a wrench to turn it, but with that pressure, the springs, I don't know if it will stay there. So just do that, save yourself the trouble. Other than that, hey, this thing wasn't too bad. Like I say, the plastic gave me the hardest trouble out of anything. Most stuff was exactly the same, minus the phaser. That's the main thing that's different. Everything else was pretty much the same. I can't think of anything that was crazy different. I used HP tuners to flash a tune on, base tune, based on, like I said, I've done some work with another LT car before, so I've cammed headers, mean cam actually, but I kind of use that as a guide. Plus, I kind of know a few things to at least get it to run and idle decent. But with that, I was actually able, hopefully, to get it streetable for the time being until he can actually get it to the tuner. Once he gets headers and exhaust, everything else he's gonna do, he's gonna take it to get dyno tuned. I thank y'all for looking at this. Like I say, I haven't seen any real in-depth LT cam swap videos, so I've tried to do this because I had to do it anyway. So I thought it may be helpful for some people. So I hope y'all enjoy it. Like I say, comment, like, subscribe, share this video, and let me know if anything I can do to make it better. Say once again, I do this for fun. I'm not disclaiming that this is the proper way to do it. It's just how I did it. It worked. Yeah, I can't think of anything else right now. So y'all just enjoy it. Scrub through to what parts you need. I'm sorry if it's lengthy. I tried to keep it as short as possible. And I also went ahead and just put the crank bolt back in, just to turn back in, just to turn the engine over a little bit. I just want to do that to make sure the lifters are actually up in these trays. So just give it a few turns. I could always take them out and just use a magnet or something like that, but I want them to already be in the trays. So I think the cylinders there. I mean, the head's on, it's pretty easy to turn the engine over, so that should be good enough. And then let's see. Should now get. Oh, that one still didn't do it, but I got the lifters for the DOD ones, so I will just use a magnet to pick those up. Let me see. So I just use a magnet to pull them out. See, it's no real biggie, but I actually get it right in the center. Don't ask me why I use this weak magnet. There we go. There you go. I'll just sit back in the tray. I'll do the same for this one. Sit this back in the tray, and I'll go swap out these two. These are the DOD ones. See, they got the ports for the oil. And then obviously the inside's a little different too. But these are the new trays. Come with it. These are the typical style. Let me set this reference to how I had it. You know, so I just swapped the new ones, or the old ones that I'm keeping in here. And then I have the new lifters from Texas Speed. A little bit, I'm gonna actually go ahead and, they already come pre-oiled, I think, but I'm gonna clean that off and soak them in some oil. Got the bolts out for the front cover. It's already loose. I'm just gonna take this tensioner. I'm gonna take this top bolt off this tensioner and just swing it over to the side, just to give myself a little more room to clear the this idler pulley. Should take that and swing it up over here. Put the bolt back in a little bit. That'll keep it from coming back. The only thing I had was this connection that went to the water pump. I just kind of bend that out the way. And let's see, and there's one connection inside. Snap that out of there. That's my foot. I'm saying this is new to me. It's a connection inside here. Coming up here on this back side. I just snap that out. And then I actually, this is this front sensor right here. And I was thinking, actually, instead of taking that apart, instead of taking that plug off, I'm clear as far as space goes, so I actually don't really need to take that off. What I am gonna do though, I'm gonna loosen the bolts for the oil pump. I'm not gonna take them off, but I'm gonna loosen them just so I can have a little wiggle room. I'm gonna go ahead and put the tensioner. You can put the little, I got a little safety pin I'll throw in there to keep the tensioner loose. I had to take the balancer bolt off to get this cover by. I'm gonna throw it back in so I can get this mark. I want the TDC mark down there, matching. That way at least I know once I take it off, I leave it there, you know, be good to go. I'm gonna actually go ahead and use the impact and break the timing chain, or excuse me, break the cam bolt loose. Alright, I already broke the torque free on the bolt here. I'm gonna actually take it off here. So I take it off there, it should fall off. Cam bolts out. Small screwdriver. This is the part that's gonna take some time. So I'm basically just gonna take the open teeth I see here and just work my way around. I think this is a little too thick. Let's either do it this way or drop the pan. No, we're not trying to drop the oil pan. I just gotta actually get it to. Took a little bit of a fight, but I got it. Pretty much I would put screwdriver kind of on the one teeth that was loose, pull it all the way over so to kind of put it in the back, and I would just continuously walk it around one at a time till it finally gets about halfway. Once it's halfway, it's pretty much comes off just like it just did. So here's my phaser. I'll go ahead and swap the cam out. Alright, then I can just take the retainer off. It's T40 Torque bits. As you see, like how my orientation of my cam is, the little pin is to the right. That's top dead center. So I'm gonna put the new one in the same way. So that's the plan. That, and to try not to drop these bolts in here. Alright, that's the last bolt for the cam retainer plate. Comes right off. You guys already know what that looks like. Same thing, LS style. the old bolt to give myself just a little bit of leverage. A little bit of a handle I can pull. Oh wait, I need to take that all the way back out again. Just had to get in there tight enough so I could turn it. Then I'm also gonna have to lift. Forgot about that. Gotta lift the condenser up. Because as it stands right now, I cannot get it out with the condenser right here. Anyway, you guys see I just pulled the condenser out, put it up to the side here. It's about as much freedom as I can get. Actually, I should be able to get more than that, but that's good enough. Thanks, actually, just because of that one connection. But see if I can do this with one hand anyway. Old cam. Sit this down for a second. Alright, old cam is out. I guess I was just being a little too soft with it. See, it looks pretty good. I don't see any major signs of anything. Alright. I'll put this one in the bag. Get the Texas speed one ready. I already cleaned it, just gotta lube it. I got the new cam here. I'll go ahead lube it up real good with some assembly lube. Start sliding it in. Trying to find somewhere to sit this, but like I said, the condenser being there is kind of in the way. But this, guys, is exactly the same as LS. Just lube it up and slide it in. New cam in. Got in there pretty easy. Lubed it up good and tight. I'm gonna put the retainer plate back on. It needs a torque to, I think, 11 foot-pounds. I'll verify and check. If I didn't make any corrections, then it's 11. I'm also gonna put a little bit of Loctite on these torque bit bolts before I put them in. Got the cover back on, torque down. Like I said, put a little Loctite on it. Pin still over in the right position, so I'm still at top dead. Trick will be trying to keep it there when I put the cam phaser unit back in. I also went ahead and put the lifters back in. as well as the trays. That was easy, like I say, the same way they slid out, just put them back in. There are holes on the lifters, little pinholes on each side, one on the A side, and there's nothing on the other side. It doesn't really matter which orientation you put it. I just did mine where each a hole was out and the hole was basically facing opposite of each other, like I say, but it doesn't matter. That's just my preference. Put the bolts on. This is 106 inch pounds, not foot pounds, inch pounds. But this I usually just hand tighten until I can feel it. It's not a whole lot of torque on that bolt. So I did that. Did the other side too. Fuel pump back on. I'm not sure if I needed to take that out to get the cam out, but I know that lobe rides on that, so I just wanted to make it a little easier, the fuel lobe, and got it back on. That was, like I said, 18 foot-pounds. Those two bolts were the same as these. Put that back in. Next thing I do, I'm gonna clean up these surfaces for the heads, and also here for where the gasket goes. Do the same for the cover. And then after I do that, I will work on the cam phaser itself, actually putting the lockout block in. Once I do that, I'll handle putting it back on to the front of the cam. And after that, I can start putting the cover back on and kind of reverse my process. Like I say, I'm gonna do some little cleaning to the heads before I put them back on. So I'll probably actually do that tomorrow. But today I'm gonna at least finish up cleaning the surfaces here. The front oil pump cover, and the phaser, getting the phaser lockout done. Bolt, make sure the compression tool is centered on the phaser spring. Compress the spring by rotating the tool until the locking slots are visible. Then you're going to insert that pin or that locking tool. Use the round holes on the LT1 2014 applications. So that would mean these, you had 2014 LT1. This is 2017, so I'm assuming that doesn't apply here, but we'll see as we go along. So when you're looking at your cam phaser from the front, this will be how the tool goes on. See that little hook right here? That'll be what hooks right here. So it's gonna be something like this. And that'll catch. All right, and I believe this does fall under the 2000, or this specific vehicle falls under the 2014, so we'll use the circle holes. So we just rotate that up, and you see the holes will be kind of visible. That's when you put the locking ring in. I can't do it right now holding the camera, but I'll show you in 1 second. All right, so here's what we got. Like I said, I just moved this up enough to get it to that point. Then I put the lock in place. Obviously you want the hooks pointed up. You want the hooks pointed upwards since the spring is pushing it down. So that's hooked into place. All right, come back to the front side, and it says using the included torque bit. Locate the pivot bolt, loosen it a half turn. This is the pivot bolt. A half turn, hang on. All right, I just loosened it a half a turn. It says remove the other 4 bolts and temporarily remove the safety bolt. Then rotate the cover away. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove these other bolts, and I'm gonna remove the safety bolt. I'm on the last bolt, which was that pin bolt. Which, like I say, shouldn't matter anymore, the pin being there since the spring's resting on the lock. There you go. See, here's the pin at the end of it. The other ones are just regular screws. So remember, this one has to go back at that 3 o'clock position. Then I just have to get this main bolt off, the safety bolt off. Then we can rotate the cover over. All right, now that's done. Oh, rotate this over. I'm not even gonna rotate it all the way over because it doesn't really matter. You can put the block in any of those holes. I'm actually gonna use a little bit of this oil to kind of help lube it up a little. I mean, this is the most available one to me, so I'm just gonna put it in there. Hang on, and also this end, the beveled end goes in, so the flat end stays out, beveled end goes in. All right, and I actually ended up taking it all the way out. I think I could actually get it in another one of these slots, like here. It kind of starts. I'm sure I could get it in. Like I said, it shouldn't matter which slot, but this one does seem to have just slightly more room. So I moved it over, took it out of the vise so I can put it in the bottom. See, there it is, flush. Pretty much reverse the process. You're gonna flip the panel back over. First thing is to reinstall that safety bolt back. After you reinstall the safety bolt, you can put the bolts back in. Make sure that pin bolt's at the 3 o'clock position, which is this one. And then they're torqued to 85 inch-pounds. So I'll be right back after I do that. All right, I'm back. First bolt I'm gonna put in is the one with the pin in it. Like I said, I know it was originally the first bolt hole clockwise from it was the pivot bolt, which is the pivot bolt, so I know it goes here. If you get confused, just flip it to the side and you'll know where the spring is locked at. The pin should be right there below it because that has to come back and hit it. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that one in first, just so I don't somehow forget later or somehow weirdly put it in the wrong spot. Then I'll go ahead and throw the other ones in. Then I'll torque them down. There's a torque. Don't forget the one that you loosened. Also do that one. There's 5. That was the last step. I actually take the bolt out now. After that, you're good to go. You can put it back on the cam. So that one's pretty simple, all in the instructions. So at the end, after you torque it, you can go remove the lock. I mean, you can move the compression tool and the safety bolt. So you're gonna take this off, take that lock out. Spring will rest back on the screw that you put back in there, and you can remove the actual bolt. And after that, when it's done, you're good to go. And I don't know if y'all remember my other video, my other spring compressor tool. With this one, it just pretty much slide it down, fit on the block. You would put this plate over. See the screw go down here. You tighten it down. This plate will push down push the spring down. You can get the keepers out, caps, and then be good. However, for this one, I just went ahead and ordered a different kit from where did I get it from? I think I actually got it from Texas Speed's website. It's this the spring compression tool. I got the LS7, LS3 kit. I also got the one for what was it? Basically one for LS3s and the ones with the offset bolt. You can see this one's kind of like a little offset. That one rocker is different, and then this is the stock one. It tells you there, of course, on the top, you were supposed to use for what. So I'm LT1, so I'm gonna use a shorter bolt. I have 2 bolts that come with it, short one and long one. But this should be a lot quicker. This one. I just sit it on there, tighten that down, and then after you got it in there, you simply just use a wrench. So I can put it in on this side, pull it, I'll pull it down, that'll push the spring down. Use me a magnet or something on the other hand, get the retainers out. Easy, simple. And this is just for me to show you how simple it is. I tighten the bolt down. So this is my first time using it, but well, of course it'd be better. Oh wait, hold on. Put more different leverage on it. That way you don't pick the head up. I push it down. See, spring goes down easy. Then in this case, because the valve's actually going down with it, I just put something under it to hit the valve so it won't close or it won't open. That'll pop the keeper wrap up. Try to find something. Alright, so I'm gonna show y'all just how fast it is. I've already got all but these 2 left. So I'm gonna just show you the setup. Like I say, just bolt it down, take your wrench, push down. Usually you gotta put something under it just in case you get, obviously it's on a flat surface, so the there's a little gap for the combustion chamber, so the valve will open sometimes, but once it hits the surface, it'll stop. The keepers will pop, and then you can take the keepers out. I use a little magnet to grab them and keep moving to the next. I literally did all these, what is it, 6 in, well, what was that, 5 minutes, if that. Like I said, I put like a little rag under where that combustion chamber is. So for instance, this is my next chamber. So I'll just move the rag here. That way that little space that it does have to open up, it'll kind of hit the rag and it'll let it bottom out quicker basically. So the keepers pop up faster. So I'm gonna try to show you guys what I'm doing. Just how quick it is. I've noticed this isn't the greatest angle. But like I said, it's these 2 here. Take it off. I use a supplied screw. Screw the tool down. So you ought to be able to hear the keepers pop. There we go. Once that pops, see the one already came up. I can grab it, put it in my little plastic bag with the rest of them. Then what I usually do is just push it down again to grab the other one. Like I said, it's already loose. I just usually take it, push it down again just to get that space. The other one comes right off. Put it in the bag. I repeat that while I get the springs off. Take the spring off, sit it down. Drop the retainer down there. Take it off. On to the next one. Same thing, same combustion chamber, so I don't even need to move the rag over. Should still work. You ought to hear the pop. There we go. One already came up. I just pick it up, the magnet, put it in the bag with the rest. Push down one more time, get the other one free to grab it. Put it in the bag. Take the spring off. Take it off. Boom. Now that was two by itself. Like I said, this is a pretty decent tool if you're, you know, if you're alone or you don't have any help. Simple as that. I'm gonna go ahead and get the seats out. And I'm actually gonna drop the valves too, because I may go ahead and try to do a slight polish, at least on the exhaust. I noticed how the exhaust side has, let's see, it's almost like it has a little ridge in there. You see that right there? That line? Every single one of them has it. That little line right there. Once again, that little line, and it may not be that noticeable to you guys, but I actually feel the difference. I don't know if that's where two metals were kind of fused or forced together when it was cast or how, but I'm gonna go ahead and take the valves out to just kind of clean that up a little bit. Alright, so I started on the heads. See if I can show you guys. Obviously, I'm gonna clean this up real good before I'm done. This is one that I didn't touch, so it's not done yet. And obviously, I just started on the other ones as well. But you can see kind of where the valve goes, and there's always extra material kind of around there, and it's kind of squared off. So I just went ahead and tried to kind of smooth it down. Let's see, like here. Obviously, like I said, I'm gonna go back and do a lot more, but see if I can clean it out right quick. Let's see, here we go. This is just, for example, kind of the difference. Like I said, I haven't gotten to really finish it much, but you see from there, just almost, let me see, looking straight on, how much more or how much less material that is, as opposed to this one looking straight on. So just kind of open up a little more past. Like I said, I'm not going too in depth with this. I'm just gonna do a little bit here and there. I'm gonna show y'all the difference if I can. So I showed you the kind of like the valve bosses, but this is pretty much a stop cylinder. You see how the casting has that line? It's on both sides. Exhaust too. I actually did touch the valve side of this one a little bit, but I stopped. See how smooth that is flowing up there as compared to this is the stock one. Like how square that is, you know, from there to there, it's a lot smoother, straighter shot. But what I wanted to show was the other part, like how rough you get the casting flash right there. And come over here. This is the one I'm working on now, so I still have to smooth it out and stuff, but it's a lot smoother. That's the only problem with doing it yourself. Obviously, with a machine, you have the precision of knowing each one is exactly the same. Here I don't, but like I said, I'm not going crazy anyway. And like I said, I just used there's some carbide tips. These are from Amazon. I have like a curved tip, then I have a straight edge, pretty decent size bite too. Then I have some more fine ones, and then once I finish that, I just always finish it off with like this little portland polish, which is just very fine sandpaper, little rolls of sandpaper that kind of really smooths things out. All right, y'all. So got the heads back on. Didn't finish the torque sequence yet, but the passenger side, I'll have the 10 hex bolts, 15 millimeters. It's 3 separate torque sequences. The first one is 59 foot-pounds. I obviously use the pattern, which mostly is just working your way inside out. I just did center, down one left, and back right, and just make sure you start inside and work your way out. First step is 59 foot-pounds. After that, you'll give each additional bolt 90 degrees turn, and the final step is you're gonna give an additional 60 degrees to every bolt. That's it as far as torquing the head. The gasket's in there. Got the new springs on, Texas-V, the new seats, titanium retainers. Same steps as when I took them off. I used the same tool. Put the seats on. I put the valves in. Use the tool to compress the spring. Well, with the seat, the retainer on top, tool sits on top of the retainer, pushes it down. Then you just put the clips back in. The retainers, and that was it. Torque sequence for the driver's side is the same, but you know that front left bolt has that forget what size is it? The Torque 12 bolt. It's not the outside hex. It's the actual bolt. Torque's bolt. So it's the same on the side. Initial 59 foot-pounds. Work your way inside out. So it was this bolt as well. But when you do the 90 degrees, you do 90 everywhere else. Here you also do 90. But the last time, instead of doing 60, on this one bolt, you're gonna do 40 degrees. The rest still get the 60 on. All right, guys, got both heads torqued down completely. I went ahead and started putting push rods, rockers on. It's simple. Use the Texas-V push rods. These are the 7.85. I like to put a little assembly lube on each end. Slide it in there. After I do that, put the rock on, same as any LS. Torques the 22 foot-pounds, same thing. So this isn't really much different. Insert both. Now I want to verify it's in. Usually the lifters, when I put the lifters in the tray, the lifters are up, so I know I should have a little extra push. There you go. And I know it's actually seated. Same thing for this one. There we go. Good to go. Actually, I throw an extra little dab of assembly lube on this side. And I also throw some right on the back end of the valve for when the rocker contacts. Yeah, as for the rocker, just throw it on there. Kind of get it started. I also want to make sure that the actual push rod is actually seated on the cap of the rocker. Try my best to kind of center it. That's about where I want it. So I know it's probably gonna want to move a little bit. Use 2 hands. All right. Got about where I want it. Let's go ahead and tighten it. I'll repeat the same thing with the first valve. Good to go. Say torque, they're all torqued to 22 foot-pounds. I believe they recommend you torque them with that rocker actually with no pressure on it, so not like this one's actually down and has pressure on it. You want to do it when it's actually up, so usually when the piston's up at top dead center. Alright, I got the cam phaser back on. I did it the same way I took it off. I just used small screwdrivers. I kind of got this side started, and I used a screwdriver on it 1 tooth at a time under it, kind of prying it over. I wouldn't do that too many times though. I'm sure it's not probably great for the chain, but say once or twice, I don't think you'll have any issues with it. Worked fine. I got it. If you remember when I took it off, I already had it at top dead center. I haven't touched the crank since then, and you can see my mark is still, let's see, there we go, still at that 6 o'clock position. No more cylinders is also at top dead center. I know you can't see it right now, but the rockers are up, so that's how I know this piston's up. If I did this again, I would probably actually go ahead and make sure I put the phaser on immediately following the cam with the heads off. That way I can actually know. Like I said, this is pretty much the same way. It's just, I know it's not a difference, but somebody else may find it more confident and actually see the piston up without the head on. But like I said, I didn't touch anything. It's still top dead. I'm gonna rotate it over once. I've got all the rockers torqued. Rotated a couple times just to see how everything goes after I torque the bolt. So the phaser bolt, or they call it the camshaft actuator position solenoid valve. This is torqued to, it's 45 foot-pounds. 45 foot-pounds first. Then after 45, you get an additional 90 degrees. You know, of course, it's got to be some kind of degrees. But yeah, I did that. Torque the oil pump bolts back. Now I'm just gonna kind of make sure this surface is clean. And we'll lay down some silicone and seal up the front timing cover. Alright, as y'all can see, I got the front timing cover on. Torque the bolts to 18 foot-pounds, I believe it was. You had 2 long, really long bolts right here where you can see the cover kind of sticks out. This bolt goes in a little farther out, so this is a long bolt. Here is a long bolt. The 2 underside were also slightly longer than the top bolts, but same torque. Just make sure when you pull them out, you remember where they went. Obviously, these long ones aren't going to fit here because there's going to be gaps. I'm assuming it's going to be the same for under here, so you will pretty much figure out that these 2 are the longest. These 2 medium ones, you just have to make sure you don't try to put in here because they may go, just probably won't fit all the way, or won't get too many threads in. So I'm gonna tackle the balancer now. I'm going to heat it up a little bit with the torch. Try to make it a little easier to slide on. There's a keyway in the balancer, also on the crankshaft, so it's only gonna go one way. I don't think I ever got to show you guys kind of how the port ended up. Like I said, it's not nothing perfect. I didn't go too far. I just kind of smoothed the runner. Like I see, but it's not bad. Actually, I could have went more in depth, but I don't like getting around that valve seat too much. I've had it happen the first time I tried porting on my own. I did it and I nicked a couple seats, so I had to go take it to the head shop to get the seats recut. I wasn't trying to do that this time, so like I said, it was just smoothing it out. Did the same to the exhaust side, so hopefully it should free up a little bit of power. All right, I've got the balancer on. Still have to do the final torque and the degree, but it's pretty much partially on. I pulled it on. I just have to actually torque and stretch the bolt. This side I went ahead and put the exhaust manifold back on. The exhaust manifold torque is 17 if you're using an existing head, and that's 17 foot-pounds, and it's 20 foot-pounds if you're using a new cylinder head. So that's for the exhaust manifold. Valve covers are 89 inch-pounds, and they're torqued in sequence. Like I said, once again, you know, it's kind of center working your way out, basically. Say 89 inch-pounds. After I finish this side, I'm gonna go ahead and get the exhaust manifold on the other side. Put that valve cover on as well. I'm waiting for the Lash cap for the fuel pump. That's why I haven't put the fuel pump in and put the intake on yet, because I'm waiting for the Lash cap for the 30%, 32% fuel load that's on the cam. I require the Lash cap to go with it, so that should get here today. After that, I'll go ahead and put the water pump on and start trying to get some of these front accessories on as well. Get the radiator back in, the fans, connect some of this plumbing. That's pretty much the main thing left. I'm gonna put the spark plug wires in. Actually, everything else from here on is pretty much just reversing your steps. Like I said, the major part is already done. You're just putting everything back in, from intake, you know, to the radiator, fill it up with fluids, all that good stuff. But we'll get to that. All right, went ahead and got the balancer torqued. It was 89 foot-pounds first pass. You loosen the bolt full 360 degrees, retorque it back to 59 foot-pounds. After that, you do an additional 200 degrees. So I just kind of stuck something in here to kind of wedge it when I turned it, since this is a manual, so it was rotating. I went ahead and worked the AC belt back on. Like I say, this one doesn't have a tensioner, so I just put the belt on the balancer and just kind of had it hanging over the top side, and I slowly turned it and it kind of walked it on. That was pretty simple. Put the water pump back on, make sure I had this tube back in, put the clip back in it. Also was one on the back side, if you can see it, that one right there, see right there, yep. Stuck that back in. There was a little clip for that too, just clipped it in place. Torqued the 6 bolt, excuse me. 89, let me see, what was it? I'm gonna torque wrench right here. Yeah, 89 inch-pounds on the water pump bolts. Like I said, gaskets were still there behind it as well. So that's that. Like I say, got exhaust manifolds on, valve covers. I did drop one exhaust manifold bolt. That one, I'm still searching for it. I heard it hit, but I still gotta find that. Other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and start trying to reassemble some of the stuff in the front. So I'm gonna put the radiator on, connect some of the hoses. Like I said, this stuff right here is just pretty much reversing the process, so I'm not gonna be too in depth with it. Actually, just connecting all the hoses and plumbing back. I see everything I have it kind of sitting over here. Intake, all that. I'm still waiting for the intake once the FedEx gets here with that Lash cap for the fuel pump. Then I can actually go ahead and put the fuel rails back on. Then get the intake back on and the radiator and everything like that. And then that's pretty much, that should be it. Keep y'all updated. All right, I went ahead and blocked off the plugs. The ports of the plugs. You see it, you know, this is normally how it is, open passage. The kit comes with these little plugs. Actually, just sit it in there, and I just use a little hammer to lightly tap it. Obviously, I put something down here. I really should have covered all this too, just in case this little piece fell in there. It's a little scary because of that. And also, after you put the plugs in, just make sure you clean up, because it does have little fine shavings. Seems like when you put it in, I'm assuming, you know, these are pretty tight in there, so it kind of may create a little burring. See if I can get you guys to stay here to see. Sorry, my other light it died. I just get it started. You'll hear the tone change. When you get that tone change, you know you're already down. And that was all of those. Take the rags out. So, let's see there. You got the plugs for the valley. That part's all done. I'm gonna actually put the valley cover back on. Sitting the power and water thing's having so much trouble focusing. Let's see the valley cover back on. I do have a new gasket also. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that on. And like I said, those ports will block off. So this is where it's blocking off on the underside. So DOD will be done. I'm gonna go ahead and change this gasket and get this valley pin back on. Alright, I got the Lash cap on. It's literally just this little cap that goes over the plunger. Just put it on there, and that's it. Now I can put the fuel pump back on, torque that back down, then we'll start with the intake. Alright, y'all, making progress, moving right along. Got the radiator in, got the fans in, everything's secured. I got all the radiator plumbing reconnected pretty much except for overflow. I'm gonna go ahead and connect the spark plug wires on both sides. I can go ahead and connect the coils and stuff. I may just wait for those plugs though till I get the intake on. And then after that, I really just gotta do all the little evap hoses and stuff. Crankcase vent, the cabin sound tube has to go back there. That's pretty much close to being it. I'll show you guys the intake part. That may be the only thing that's the fuel rail part that's I think you shouldn't be able to maybe do every day or haven't done every day. Everything else is just connecting hoses. Alright, got the rail back on. The bolts for the rails are 18 foot-pounds. The pipe fittings are 21 foot-pounds. Like I said, this was simple, just sit the rail down. I use the screw kind of pull the rail down and put the injectors in place. Just connected, I disconnected here, here, and here, and then the bolt and took it all up as a piece. Just put it back on. I reconnected the feed line here. Also, don't forget to attach it to the valve cover with the bolt. I connected the injector plugs here, and in the back also. And also the plug to the fuel pump. I'm gonna lay that matting down over it, then we'll get the intake on. Got the little sound insulation is indented, cut out on the back side, so it only goes on one way. So it'll kind of fit right into place. There you go. After After that, we just got to get the intake over here. I'm gonna sit this down for that. All right, got the intake here. I'm gonna sit it down. Intake bolts are 40-inch pounds. I went ahead and threw the roto fab back in too, just because it won't be in the way, so I get that out the way. Put the catch cam back on too, and I connected it to the crankcase. This part will go to the part right here on the intake. I'm gonna go ahead and sit it down, torque on the 40-inch pound. All right, here we have it, all back together. So I'm just topping off the fluid right now. I'm gonna double check everything again just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Pretty sure I've got it. Look, stop. All I gotta do now is flash my little bass tune in. See if it's gonna start up. Hopefully nothing blows up. The bass tune should be pretty decent. I know I got another car I messed with before. It's an LT1, actually it's a Corvette. Similar cam. This one's similar specs, on difference is he has headers. So I kind of use that as a guide. And of course this cam's not quite as extreme, so I just kind of dial back a lot of the stuff. But we'll see what happens. And we're gonna see what's going on here. HP tuner's up, trying to write it now. Let's see what we got. That's what we was waiting for. The write is complete. Oh no, cancel. I'm about to mess it up. Hopefully I didn't. Here go the moment of truth. Hopefully it don't be too loud with this phone right there. Either it's gonna blow up or we in there. Let's see.